how do we move forward? How do we solve this problem? How do we take back that power? Because whether we like it or not, for us to be able to feel anything like governance, we really need that local government to be functional and effective. He was there, he was summoning the people to say, go and call your governors, go and call your governors. But I remember that when our president was governor. Go ahead.
For me, it's easy when you don't sit in a chair to accuse someone else. While he was Lagos State governor, I remember he created local governments, LCDs then, 37 LCDs, demanded that the federal government increase the funding of LG to Lagos, and the federal government refused, which got the federal government, then the Obasanjo-led government, to seize local government funds to Lagos State. Now he's president, and in his time as president, he's also done this, which is he removed subsidy, increased FAC allocation to states and local governments by 25%. But local governors have kidnapped local government FAC allocations, and federal government wanted to pay this directly. So now he's in the driver's seat. He feels exactly like Obasanjo right now. For me, it's calm and it's interesting to watch.
So for the likes of the former president Olusegun Obasanjo recently had called for advocating and backing the fact that Western democracy, of course, a presidential system in which, thrives in a federal system of government is not. We should do away with that. Do you think that the problem is with, the system of government that we're practicing, the federal system?
So for me, this is the issue. You want to move to a parliamentary system of government. You have a National Assembly, which, of course, the Electoral College puts at 64% politically illiterate. Most of them have not read the Constitution. Now you want to shift to a system of government that is based on the constitutional provisions. Who's going to amend the laws? Who's going to talk in a parliamentary system? You're jumping into the biggest quagmire you probably would not attempt. Because in a regional system of government, it's basically parliamentary, which means the legislative controls almost everything. These things have to be deliberated. I can tell you, if you bring 3 senators, Lagos, Kunle, I don't think one has read the Constitution.
Kunle, that's a very lofty thing to say, because I mean, people that get elected into state houses of assembly, they know that it's a duty for them to read. Is this not an an assumption on the Electoral College's part?
I'll give you.
What is the basis for you to say that people that are supposed to understand the Constitution, because that is why they are there, so that they can continue to deliberate on the things that favors the people, and you're saying that a lot of 64% of them, that's a huge number, are illiterate?
I'll give you an example. We were lucky enough to have worked partly on the Electoral Act. If a phrase in the Electoral Act removes National Assembly members as delegates, do you remember what happened in 2022? When the president assented to it and they found out this was a bill they had written and submitted. A few of us worked on it with it, but they had submitted it, which means they didn't read it. And then they now found out there were no more delegates. They went back to the president to ask him to return it so that they could redo it and then he could reassent. Are you still doubting what I'm saying?
So then, it takes me back to, to that question, because I think you didn't answer it. It's the problem with the federal system as a structure, because over time we've also had, conversations around true federalism
and decentralizing power.
So people say, oh, we're not practicing true federalism. Is the problem with the system, the federal system, or it's in the practice, the people who are practicing it?
So the best way to define this, or the best way to answer your question, is that there's nothing wrong with the presidential system.
The federal system.
The federal system, presidential system. There's nothing wrong with it. What we have done is that we've created a culture of politics in Nigeria, which is totally deviated from anything. The basis of any democracy is local governments must function. because local governments are the first handshake of democracy to the people. If you kidnap the local government, how is democracy going to reach people? Local government is in charge of primary healthcare, is in charge of primary education, they're in charge of bridges, markets, basic taxes, and you annihilate them from the system, seize their funds. How do you expect these places to function? You're going to have a critical problem